everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cloud Conversations. And this episode is number 30, big 30, which is what I will be in a couple of months. So getting there, getting there. So I'm your host, Kat Greenan, and I'm obviously joined by my lovely co host, Peter. How are you doing today, Peter?
Hey, Kat, I'm very well. I'm good for a Monday, which is when we're recording this. The sun is shining in the northeast of England, which is very pleasant and not always usual, but I'm enjoying it. I've had a good day. How about you, Kat? How's your day been?
Not too bad, not too bad. My dog, I could talk about my dog again, just got back from the
Oh, yeah.
vets. He scratched his eye, so he's got an ulcer in his eye, but he is okay.
Mm.
But crying dogs, that's what I've been dealing with all weekend. It's not been very nice, but
Oh,
he's on the mend. So everybody, all the Bruce fans out there, don't
yeah.
worry, he's okay. I will bring him up on camera one day.
Get well
And
soon,
show you.
Bruce. But awesome.
Mhm.
Well, yes, welcome indeed to another fresh episode of Cloud Conversations. And I have the pleasure and privilege of introducing our guest for this show, which is Allie Thompson. Allie, how are you today? Welcome.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. So, briefly to introduce you, I'll let you do a better job than I will in a moment. But Ali, you're a Microsoft product marketing manager based in Seattle, and you work closely with the MVPs and with humans of IT, which we'll get into as we go along this talk. But if you just wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell us a bit about who you are and how you got to where you are today, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Yeah. You did a pretty good job. That's what I do. I'm a product marketing manager at
Hey.
Microsoft. Um, definitely wear a lot of hats these days. Yeah, originally it came on pretty focused, pretty exclusively on the MVP community and getting the MVPs engaged with the Microsoft 365 product
Mm.
groups. But have taken on additional things over the years. So, Humans of IT is a big initiative that I do my best to support. Although we still don't have someone leading it full time. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it. I like to dabble in the more strategic conversations about kind of community strategy all up as well. So exciting to see hopefully some changes in that direction.
Amazing. I had a little look and saw that you were not always in marketing.
Mm.
Uh, so in your past life, you were was it a special education teacher. Is
Yeah.
that right? So what what made you transition? How did that kind of happen, and why? I guess it's a bit of a
Yeah.
swinging career.
It's true. Yeah, I've only been at Microsoft for 2 years, and before that, I was in business school, so I did do my MBA internship at Microsoft as well. But yeah, before that, I had almost a full career, like a decade of teaching special ed in Chicago. Um, and yeah, the transition happened. I think it was like somewhat related to personal things. My dad passed away suddenly in 2014, and I did teach for another year after that, but I found it really hard. And my brother at the time was also starting a company, a small tech startup, like a mobile app that I don't think exists anymore, so I won't plug it here. But I was kind of, while I was teaching, helping him out, and he needed help with kind of everything, marketing, operations. He was raising the money, and my cousin was coding, and I was kind of doing everything else. And I really enjoyed it, and it was a fun challenge, and it was fun to just like be around family. And so I ended up leaving teaching to do that for a couple of years, and kind of got inspired by this idea of like technology and all of the amazing things it could do for education, specifically special education and accessibility. So
Mm.
that was kind of the inspiration behind maybe I'll go to business school, and also kind of thought I'd end up at like an ed tech startup, which Microsoft is clearly not a startup. But we do really cool work in that space, and I think it still feels really good to work for a company that cares about those things. And maybe one day I'll find myself in a role that's more related to that too.
You've definitely gone to the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we'll just start a startup. Bam,
Yeah.
Microsoft. Then I'm interested to know, when you were in your teaching career, did you use any of the technology that we talk about today, like Teams, or I guess it might have been too far long ago before Teams, but SharePoint or any Microsoft tech that you're familiar with?
It was too long ago. It was, I mean, I think we probably used mostly competitors, and certainly the schools I worked at were not very advanced technologically. Yeah, I think about it all the time now, where I'm like, wow, if I could use the tools I use now at work, back in my teaching days, it's just, I mean, I'm a full fan of the Microsoft suite over our competitors. So personally as well. So I'm really just like, yeah, I can't even imagine if we had access to all of that.
Oh wow! I don't know if it's the same in the US as it is here in the UK, Ali, but certainly in the UK, in schools of all flavors, technology is quite hard for them to get access to in terms of good, new, well working kit. They tend to get a lot of old, secondhand. Is it much the same?
Yes, it is. And I think I think there have been a lot of, valiant efforts here to change that. But you certainly find that schools in tougher neighborhoods and with like lower socioeconomic status and kind of the kids who need it the most, who don't have access at home, tend to not have great technology in schools. And I think there's also a lot of something you're both very good at, a lot of like barriers to adoption and things like that. We have a lot of teachers who have either been teaching a really long time, with a projector and a pen and paper, and like don't really know, are kind of afraid of technology, or younger people who are used to different technologies. I think it's hard to get everyone behind the same things, and I think having a uniform approach to technology would be really helpful in a school, as kids go from different teachers to different teachers, and all of that. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle in the States too.
Yeah, and I think as well, so I've done a couple of different sessions on Teams with different universities around the UK and higher education schools. And one of the bits of feedback that we always get from the teachers is, I just like it's hard enough to find the time. I've got back-to-back lessons every single day. And my life is made easier by using the technology, but it's finding the time to commit and actually, say for instance, in Teams, you got to set your team up, you got to get your students used to using it, feel comfortable with it. It can be a bit of a blocker, but hopefully showing the value. And then with Viva Learning coming out as well, hopefully that can help people learn, using the technology day to day. So yeah, definitely a challenge we have here.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well in the UK. But just I guess to change and steer a little bit, I don't know if there's a typical day that you have in the life of a Microsoft product marketing manager.
Yeah. Typical does not exist, at least in my role. And I think what's interesting is like a lot of people in marketing roles, our role is product marketing manager, but particularly with what I do, it's not specific to really a single product, right? I'm in like on the Microsoft 365 space. We're not, I'm not super deep on Excel or Teams or anything else. It's really about kind of the entire suite. And I think a lot of product marketing managers are much more focused. Like, I know you had John, who I called Grizz, on a little while ago. Like he's very focused on like security for Teams, and like that's what he does. He knows about their blog strategy and their technical readiness strategy and all of that. And so I think it might be more typical. There might be a more typical day for someone like that. But yeah, for me, it kind of changes day to day or week to week or month to month. Like right now, we're very focused on Microsoft Ignite. Shameless plug, November 2nd, get registered. It's going to be awesome. So a lot of my day is focused on that and the sessions that we're working on for Humans of IT, and then as well as the Altspace VR sessions that are being led by MVPs. So I'm doing a lot of work on those too.
Amazing.
But yeah, it does change. It changes literally every day. So when it's not Ignite season, I'm doing very different things.
Yeah, those Altspace sessions, I'm getting involved in those as well with previous guest of the show, Kathy Moyer, now organizing that, and really looking forward to that. Can't wait. Really, really impressed with the technology and It's going to be fun, a lot of fun,
Yeah,
without a
it's a
doubt.
lot of fun.
Do you ever find that, because you're covering Microsoft 365, does your knowledge then spread across all of the technologies? It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It's a lot to
It's a-
learn. It's not just a specific, right, I just need to know this the best I can. You really
Yeah.
need to have kind of a breadth. How do you approach learning about the technology, especially with new things coming out as well? You spread
It's
across.
It's a good question, and I could say the same to you. I mean, you both have
Yeah.
widespread knowledge on these products, and I think it's like, yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to take in, and I'm someone who does not have nearly the technical expertise that the two of you do, and never did. Right. So I mean, I came from something totally non-traditional, and so it is hard to learn it for sure, and especially because when I'm looking for ways to engage MVPs, that you all care about like deeper technical things, so like that is beyond the beginner stage where I'm probably at, but I think it's encouraged me to form relationships with engineers and marketers across our products. So that I think has been really useful. Like, I have people, when I tell you guys who to ping about, a question you have about something that's going on with your client or something, those are the same people I ping if I'm having an issue or I'm trying to learn something. So I think we have our own little community internally too. And that's probably what I leverage the most. And just like trial and error. Like, I like technology. I'm not terrible at it. I just never kind of made a career of it before. So yeah, I love to like play around in Power BI or like try to make a Power App or try to, fix a process that is, some of our processes with the MVP program are like pretty tedious. And so I will sometimes play around and try to fix those things just to make my own life easier. And I learn a lot that way too.
And there's always something new to learn, isn't there, in this wonderful world of Microsoft 365 that we are all a part of. And it can be overwhelming sometimes keeping up with it all, but it's just so great. The amount of stuff that's coming out, and it's just keeping up with it can be a challenge, but I try and bookmark things and say, oh, must look at that, must try that, must blog about that, must talk about this, and it's before you know it, there's a whole other host of stuff that is out there to follow it. So, but it's all great, absolutely brilliant. And the community that we've got between us, between the community, between MVPs, between Microsoft full-time employees, it's just wonderful, that channel that we've all got between each other to communicate and feed things back and take things forward. Love it, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just thinking when you said there, well, I ask a couple of the colleagues in Microsoft and I have our little, it's almost like you have your own digital champions. And when we're talking about change management, we've got digital champions within Microsoft as well as outside. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Definitely.
I did ask, because you mentioned it, that you are, you kind of look after the humans of IT. And that's something, obviously, I know, Peter, you're quite heavily involved in writing blogs, and you wrote an amazing blog about your experiences with your child and some of the struggles and challenges that you faced. And I think it's a really great platform to give people a voice. That's what it kind of means for me anyway. But for those, maybe we have viewers and listeners who don't know what it is, would you mind just explaining what it is, how it started, and really, what the impact has been on the community for humans of IT?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really amazing community and initiative, and that's why I've kind of adopted it and agreed to kind of help keep it alive while we kind of look for a new path. But yeah, it was started I want to say about 3 years ago by Shauna Bing, who was a colleague of mine. We worked really closely on the same team. She's now doing awesome things in mixed reality and engineering now. And she started it as, it was originally called Diversity in Tech, and it was like very focused on bringing more diverse voices to technology. And it sort of evolved because I think they just wanted to kind of take any labels off of it, right? Like just like make it about like all humans and any human experience. And I think that it was a really super robust program for the last couple of years. And since we don't have someone full time really able to nurture it, we still have the blog, which is great. And constantly looking for new people to blog. So we love to hear different stories, whether it's something about using technology for good or just a personal story, personal career journey, just getting to know kind of the people who are in our technical community. And then we also still have a track at Ignite as part of the Connection Zone. So far in every Ignite that we've had in the last few years, and that's really awesome too, because it's just a kind of place to spotlight something that is, sometimes they get technical, but they're usually a little less technical and just more about human stuff. And it's kind of a nice break from, watching a bunch of demos and all those things. And not that we don't love those, we do, but it's, it's just kind of like a little happy place. And I think this was more evident in person. It was literally like a happy little room that like had greenery and like totally different style from the rest of the conference. But hopefully it feels that way digitally too.
It certainly does. I think it's a great place to connect with like-minded people and share your stories and experiences. For me, I love writing. Writing is a great sort of outlet for me to express myself and how I'm feeling in life about all sorts of things, about tech, about family and life. I'm a bit of an open book. Maybe it's too much at times, but I wear my heart on my sleeve and I just talk about anything really. It's very open book. But the reactions I've had to the two posts that I've done on Humans of IT has been absolutely wonderful, and the people who've come back to me and with shared similar experiences that I've been able to talk to and spent some time getting to know and can empathize with, it's just super amazing. What a rewarding experience. And I'd encourage you all to go and take a look at the site, and if you want to share any sort of story, do go. It's so easy to do, and it's so worthwhile, and you never know who you might help out and connect with along the way.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Peter. We love all of your contributions and hearing about Oliver's journey, and it's just, it's been wonderful, and I think it's just a really cool way. The truth is, it's a cool way to get involved in the community if you're not an MVP yet. If you're kind of looking for a way in, we have definitely met people through that who have shared their story there, and then gotten to know people, and just it's kind of a way in, and it's a really authentic way to kind of join the community and introduce yourself. So
it is definitely, and I do hope to see it grow and evolve and expand. And I think there's so much potential for it to evolve and get more people involved with it. I love it. So do get involved. But I think that brings us nicely on to next question. Really, you mentioned that you're the MVPs, and you're the lead for Office Apps and Services for MVPs, which is my category. So yes. You are my lead. And, can you tell us a bit about that and how it all sort of fits together with all the categories? Because if you become an MVP, you might get put into Office Apps and Services, you might get an enterprise mobility. There's all sorts of places where you can slot in. So tell us a little bit about the MVP program, if you would, and how it all works.
Yeah, sure. I think it is often kind of seen as this like black box, like nobody really knows how it works, but it is pretty simple in a way. I do think that like we do need to revitalize the category structure a little bit. I will not. I think that like there's definitely product areas that aren't well covered, and like we could do a lot more to kind of combine and Office Apps and Services is something that we've worked really hard on the last couple of years, is making it more of a broader community, making sure people get to know each other, and you're not just in your little silos for the product that you have expertise on. Our products all talk to each other, so our MVPs should too.
Exactly.
And so but I do think in terms of the process, it's it is a little bit of a mystery, but in order to become an MVP, you do have to be nominated either by someone who works at Microsoft or someone who's already an MVP. So that I think is mostly just to make sure that the team that initially looks through applications doesn't have to look through like millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's how it starts. And I think that something that Lori Potmeyer and I have done a few sessions together at different community events talking about how to become an MVP and trying to kind of demystify it. And the thing that comes up all the time is we're like, it sounds kind of cheesy, but the truth is, like, if you're trying really hard to become an MVP, you're probably not right for it, right? Like, the idea is really that it should be something sort of authentic, where you just care a lot about a product and helping people use a product and sharing use cases and tips and all those things. And people find you, the community will find you and will find you, right? That's kind of how it should work, at least. But there are definitely things like Humans of IT and attending user groups and maybe getting to know an organizer of an event and starting to speak, like, depending on what kind of your area is that you want to push yourself in. There's a lot of different tips and tricks we can offer to get to know the community, to get your voice out there, to start contributing in ways that Microsoft will notice.
Yeah, I think that's such good advice as well. So anybody that I've kind of spoken to has said, if you're going out and all you're wanting to do is get the MVP award, then it's not for you, because you've got to just be doing your activities that you enjoy. And if you get it, great. But if you don't, you just keep doing what you're doing. So, and one of the things, I guess, I'm kind of going through that process of getting more involved in the community. And I definitely found that it just opens you up and swallows you in. So, start writing blogs, start speaking at some events, and it's the type of things I enjoy doing. And then, I ended up doing this podcast because Peter reached out to me, and, lots and lots of great things have come from it. So the community, I think, gives you more opportunities to be more involved. Is when you just need to start promoting, and getting a bit more active, and you find it kind of, it's like a big snowball getting bigger and bigger as the time goes on, and you meet new people as well.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, it's an amazing community, and we're very happy to have you as a part of it. Okay. Like, it's a really special community. It's a hard thing to describe to people who don't get it, who aren't in it. Yeah.
And this is how the community works. I mean, Kat was one of our first guests on the show when Rue and I started the show. And we liked Kat so much that we simply had to invite her to be part of the team, and she's been absolutely amazing. So
when they asked me, I was like, really?
But that is a typical reaction of many people within the community. Most of them that you come across will have almost that little bit of imposter syndrome and that sense of humbleness, if that's a word.
Yes.
That I mean, I certainly do it. I still think, what me, when I'm asked to speak or to write articles or appear or whatever, I still don't see why people want me. So, but and that tends to be quite prominent amongst MVPs and people within the community. They're very, very generous with their time and do it because they love it, not because of the end goal. That MVP award is little cherry on the cake, really. But it really is no more than that. At the end of the day, it's about the experience, the people that you get to know and work with and love, because there's some fantastic people I've met in the community who have in recent times supported me in difficult times with my journey with Oliver, because it's been very, very challenging. People both in my work life and in the community life who have reached out to me and said, "Oh, I can see you struggling, and are you all right? Do you need to talk?" And only yesterday, one of my closest friends in the community reached. I'll not embarrass them by naming them. Reached out to me and said, because I couldn't attend one of the events that Kat went to the other week, the South Coast Summit. I was very disappointed I couldn't go, but I couldn't leave my wife with Oliver just because of the way things are right now. But I was a bit gutted when I had to cancel my hotel and all that. And he said to me yesterday, we really felt for you that you couldn't go, and we missed you there, and we've not had the chance to meet in person yet, as I've not met a lot of people in the community yet. So they said, how about we sort of flip things over and maybe arrange to come up and see you where you live and take you out for I'm not going to lie, my eyes watered. So so I've got that to look forward to very, very soon. So that's the sort of people you've got in this community.
That's amazing.
Really care. So that just utterly bowled me over. Really did.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I love to hear
That's,
that. You're gonna get me going.
Oh dear. Well, I guess if that's one piece of advice to give to anybody who's looking to get more involved in the community, what would it be, Ali? Would it just be start doing it?
Exactly. Yeah. Just start doing it. Pick your thing, whether it's blogging or, YouTube videos or whatever it is. Like, pick your thing and just start doing it and meet people. And Twitter is a great place to start. Like, it sounds too easy, but it's a great place to start. Really getting to know the other MVPs in the community and seeing what other people are doing and kind of what speaks to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I find a variety of things that you enjoy doing helps. So obviously speaking and conferences might not be for everyone, but for people who enjoy it, definitely worth doing. So yeah, hands on lots of pots, and then you actually meet so many new types of people, which is great as well. So one thing that I really like about the community, and I think the MVP program as well, is that it is quite inclusive in terms of those who are involved. But is there something that's being actively done to make sure that the MVP program is as inclusive as it can be? And is there anything that we as community members can really do to help with that ourselves?
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, I think that it is a very, very old program, right? And I think that we are always trying to improve. And there's always room for improvement. And I think that there are definitely, like, on the MVP program team, which is, sort of, I guess I'm their stakeholder, they're my stakeholder. I don't know. I'm not directly on that team, right? I'm on the product team, but they're doing a lot. I think, like, they have started doing some more regular sessions, what we call PGIs, product group interactions, just basically Teams meetings.
Love those.
Another acronym.
Yeah. And they've been doing a lot that are, like, not product specific, that are about, accessibility or, like, other types of diversity, inclusion, and equity type topics. And so I think that is really important. And they're doing other things too. We always have a reminder in every call about, like, being really inclusive and being aware of everyone. And we call people out if they're not. And I think the code of conduct includes inclusive behavior. So a lot of those things are happening, and I think that, like, we could definitely do more. But I would say, like, diversity and inclusion to me is personally something I care a lot about, and I would love to see that improve. And the best thing that the community can do is find and nominate more diverse candidates, right? Because like, what happens with the way that it works right now is a lot of people nominate people who look like them, like similar age, similar skin color, similar everything, right? Like, it just because, like, that's who people tend to surround themselves with. So the more diverse candidates you can send our way, the better. That would be my biggest ask of the community.
Amazing. And I think as well, the technology with Microsoft, that message of diversity and inclusion it's just totally throughout in the technology and all of the programs and the community, and how it's growing and getting, so much better, I think is pretty awesome as well. I mean, you see all of these cool applications and features coming out to help, children with learning difficulties and those hard of hearing. And there's lots of cool stuff in Teams that I get really excited about. When even just something really simple like the captions, everybody's like, oh my gosh, amazing. And translating with, even global organizations. And, I just think there's so much cool stuff coming out. So it's great. I like it.
Those things are really cool. And one of my favorite things, so for anyone listening who's planning to come to the AltSpace VR sessions at Ignite, like, my favorite feature in AltSpace is the translation. So we did a few meetups in AltSpace during MVP Summit, and we have a hard time sometimes, like, really connecting with and communicating with MVPs whose first language isn't English. And we had one of our sessions, late at night for us to kind of accommodate the APAC time zone, and there was a group of Japanese MVPs who, like, I've known their names forever, but have never really had a conversation with them. And in alt space, we could just talk. I'm speaking English, they're speaking Japanese, and the product is translating what I'm saying into their language and what they're saying into my language. And it was the coolest thing. And we were all just so excited. Like, I think the whole conversation was like, this is so cool. This is so just like back and forth. This is so cool. But it's just, I think a lot of those things are awesome for our community, but awesome for everyone, right? Like, it really does make these products something that hopefully anyone can use.
Absolutely. My first experience of alt space VR was actually at MVP Summit earlier this year. And when I first went into the application, you may remember, Allie, you welcomed me in there. And it took me quite some time to figure out how to get my microphone
Yes.
off. You were talking away to me, hey, Peter, how are you? And I was like, oh, how do I respond? But it can be a little bit daunting at first, which is why in the Ignite sessions we will have sort of greeters and trainers and that sort of thing for people attending. But what a great experience. I mean, one of the things I do find still quite a little bit alien about it is when you're in the large sort of gatherings and there's lots of different conversations going on. It can be quite hard to focus in on who you're talking to, because Vesa Nopanen, he came and talked to me the other day, and I could hear him pretty decently, but there was other conversations going on quite close by, and it was. But I have that problem in the real world anyway.
Totally.
When you're in a crowded, so it's simulating that experience, isn't it? Which I guess is the point.
Yeah, exactly. And if you like, you could just be like, hey, let's go further away. Like, let's go over here to this corner. And the further away you get, the softer the other people's voices get, it's really pretty cool. And I think it's also extra cool because we've all been so deprived of human interaction these last couple of years. And it's such a big part of the community, right? Like, the first 6 months of my job, I was traveling the world, going to all the Ignite tour stops, meeting all these people in person and getting to know MVPs, getting to know the community. And then it's gone. Like, we can't do that anymore. So I do think there's a lot of awesome potential with VR to make those things happen and help people who can't be there for whatever reason feel like a part of it.
And I think that's so important because as we come out of lockdown, I can empathize with this quite a bit because I'm struggling to get back out into the world because of my family situation, because of being a carer. It's hard for me to leave home. I'm also mindful that despite being double vaccinated, I don't want to catch COVID. Nobody wants to catch COVID, obviously, but I really don't feel like I can afford to catch it being a carer. So I have to sort of protect myself and my family in that regard. So virtual opportunities to participate are so important for me. And I know there's a few people that feel that way. Chris Hoard, I know, is very much of a similar mindset. He values them very much in the same way. But I think the way the technology is now is amazing enough, but considering how great it is now, just imagine where it can go in the next few years, and how real an experience we're going to be able to get as it improves and develops. And you can probably attend Ignite, feel like you're really there without actually being there. So exciting.
It's really exciting stuff. Yeah, it's a really, really new product. Yeah, there's still there's so many places it could go.
Just speaking of Ignite, then, is there any kind of sessions or anything you would shout out for people to mark in their calendars?
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So we have 6 sessions for Humans of IT that I think are going to be awesome, and then of course the alt space VR sessions I think are going to be great. We have 2 in the Microsoft 365. Well, technically 3 in the Microsoft 365 space. 2 that I've worked on. One that's pretty focused on Teams, and one that's more on kind of Microsoft 365 experiences all up, like files and videos and connections and things like that. And I think that it's just going to be a great change of pace just because it's new. But yeah, our Humans of IT sessions are great. They like range from mental health to, we actually have people from the Alt Space VR team coming to talk about virtual reality and human connections in this digital world, and why everyone in the community should be kind of using their skills for good and going out there and helping nonprofits and giving back, which is going to be a great session led by Dux, who I'm sure a lot of you know.
Oh, Dux, yeah. Love him.
Yeah, so it's
guy.
really great stuff. And then we have a panel called Amplifying Black Voices, which is a lot. It's all Microsoft employees led by our intern from last summer. So he's the one who's not an employee anymore. But and he did this whole blog series on Humans of IT, and so we have some of the bloggers coming to just talk about their experiences as being Black in tech and their different journeys. So I'm really excited about our lineup, and we'll be posting a blog probably by the time this airs, with kind of our guide to our 6 sessions and how you can tune in.
Awesome. But it's so easy to sign up for Ignite, though, isn't it? I mean, when you register with a Microsoft account or whatever account, but once you're in, you've got your session scheduler, you've got your backpack that you can save things to. There are certain events that you have to RSVP to that are limited attendance, aren't there? But and I always say, be careful what you try and sign up for. Don't take a place on a session where you're not necessarily going to attend it. A lot of people, I think, that I talk to go in and tick, and I might go to this, might go to that. But think about that, especially on those sessions with limited availability, because you will be able to see them later, won't you, on the recordings?
Yes, definitely. Most of them will be recorded. The AltSpace table talks will not, so those are definitely important ones to RSVP if you're going to be there, and be there live. Humans of IT, I will say, I think they are RSVP, but it's a huge max, like 2,500 people or something. So we can take a lot of people on those because they're run as Teams live events. So
and with it being so new, we really don't know what to expect. We don't really know how many people we're going to get, if we're going to get a small amount or a massive amount. It's really sort of suck it and see, and because it's so new, isn't it? So we'll find out as we go. We might be absolutely swamped, and who knows? It'll be a nice problem to have if so.
I think our topics are going to be pretty popular, but we'll see. I don't know. It's just a prediction. I think Kathy Moya, who I've been working with on these, she is like, we might just have 10 people show up. It's hard to get in. It's kind of like a big barrier to entry, but I think that there's we're just trying to drive up a lot of excitement about it. I think hopefully we get people in there because I think it'll be a really interesting, kind of change from the regular virtual event. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and everybody who's sort of evangelizing it and experienced with it today, we're all still learning it in a way, aren't we? And finding our way around it. It's that new, so it's not an exact science still. So it's exciting from that point of view as we figure it out and make it work. And I can't wait. I really can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you see that as the future then of would we have hybrid events in the future or keeping it all virtual, digital?
Your guess is as good as mine. It's really hard to tell. I mean, I think that Microsoft is a giant company, so they have to be careful and not go hybrid or in person too soon. But I really hope so. I really hope that we can be in person again. I miss it a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think it is sort of testing everyone on what we can do to make a really good hybrid event. I'd be really interested to work on it. But hopefully I'd get to be there in person because that's what I want. Yeah, it is I have no idea. I have no idea when that will happen, if it'll be hybrid, if it'll be in person. I'm really hopeful that next year we'll have some in-person element, but
yeah, sorry to rub it in, Peter, but being in person just makes such a difference when you build relationships with people. There's people that I've spoken to that I actually didn't recognize some people in person. I was like, oh goodness, I look so different off camera. But yeah, just building that relationship, there's nothing like it in person. No matter how digital and virtual we can get.
So how was it awesome?
Oh, it was so good. It was so much fun. It was tiring, long day, but lots of meeting people and networking and lots of sessions. My brain was just so I tried to go to all the sessions that I'd never been to, but so dynamics and things that I don't really get into. Yes, and there was a coding one that I jumped into, and I wouldn't say I was a coder, so maybe I jumped into because I was some of the detail that they went into, but the speakers were amazing. And the next one we've got in person is the Scottish Summit in the UK, isn't it? And are you going to try and go to that one, Peter, as well?
I'm going to try my very best. I'm not ruling anything in or out. I'm going to try very hard to get there. Probably be a little easier for me to get to Scotland than it is down to the south coast.
Yes.
It's a little less of a journey for me, but we shall see. I'm crossing my fingers and my toes because I would love to be there. I've been to events in the past. I mean, the last one I went to was right before COVID hit the world. Early 2020 was Ignite the Tour in the UK at the Excel London, which was. Were you at that one, Allie?
I was there. Yeah.
You know, this is the thing that really I've said this many times before. The number of Future Decoded and Ignite the Tours and that sort of thing I've been to at Excel London before I was involved in the community the way I became, and then in the MVP, I've probably walked past you and people that I know so well now and didn't know you then, which is kind of devastating. But yeah, but great events. I love Excel London. It's such a great venue.
Yeah,
really, really good. And I'd love to get back there at some point, or to any of the other great venues. But South Coast Summit, though, it just sounded amazing. I did participate in a small way by doing this show with Kat. You were there live, and Rue and I dialed in and we had a chat while you were there, and my good sort of friend and colleague Kevin McDonnell, he did a couple of talks, and I recorded a couple of video segments which he put up on the screen for his talk, so that was nice. So I got to be there without being there, which was very nice, and everyone was very, very kind, as you would expect in the community. Everyone was like asking after me and, well, what was shame you weren't there and all that, and we missed you, and so it was really home.
Even when I was there in person, Peter, you don't realize how much of an impact you do make on the community, because there was people that I'd met for the first time, and they were like, "Oh, Pete, how's Pete?" And asking after you, and and saying, "Oh, it's such a shame. I know he's gutted it couldn't come down," and and that was from several people. So you were there in spirit, definitely. And I felt really proud. I was like, yeah, I know Pete must have amazing.
That's lovely.
More
That's
tears.
Lovely. Yeah, absolutely.
But it just shows how good friendships you can make, in such a short period of time as well. It's quite intense. So no, it's good though.
Amazing, isn't it? And what we must do, actually, because it was so well organized and came off so brilliantly, I always do like to mention wherever I can the brilliant Aaron Rendell and Nathan Sweeney, the organizers. I do not know how they did it, but wow. Massive applause to them for pulling that off. Sensational for their first event, and brilliant. Next year's can only be even better.
I know you'll have a bigger audience there, I think, or more attendees, I think, because of the hype from this year, and everybody who didn't go, I need to make it next year. So watch out, Aaron and Nathan. Even more people.
They'll definitely need more help.
But taking a little turn then, because I'm just, we don't want to keep you too long, because I know that you do have obviously other things to get on with. But we did want to just find out a little bit more about what you do in your spare time. Do you have any hobbies or anything like that you do to wind down?
I think it's been interesting. I think a lot of the things that I used to do to unwind, like I guess like everyone else, I sort of consider myself like an extroverted introvert. Like I I definitely like to be alone, but I didn't realize how much I needed social interaction. So not having a lot of opportunities to like see people and go out has definitely changed it. But I mean, my husband and I like really love camping and hiking and road tripping. We just did a huge trip that I tried to work during, which was rough, but kind of made it work. Can't really leave in October when Ignite is November 2nd, but was planned before the dates came out. But yeah, so we like to drive and see different things just in the US, especially when we can't travel abroad. So we just drove from Seattle to, the kind of main point was for my cousin's wedding in Tucson, Arizona. So we drove like through, I think we stopped in Twin Falls, Idaho, and then saw Bryce Canyon and Zion, 2 national parks that are beautiful. Visited his friend in Las Vegas, went to the Grand Canyon, spent some time in Sedona, Arizona, which is one of the most beautiful places ever. And and then we're with my family in Tucson for the wedding, and then we drove kind of west to San Diego and drove all the way up the coast to get back home, and stopped a bunch of places, and it was so awesome. We saw a bunch of friends and saw a bunch of nature and did a bunch of hiking and eating and like, I don't know, I think like those are kind of my main things I like to do with my spare time, and so we kind of just did a bunch of it all in like 19 days.
Wow, intense. Whenever I do think of America, I always think I'd love to road trip. That would just be so much fun. How long was the trip? How long did it take you to drive?
We were gone for, I think it was 18 or 19 days.
Wow.
And we stopped. I mean, we spent like 3 days, well, almost a week total in Arizona. Got like an Airbnb with my cousins in Sedona before going to Tucson. So that was kind of we stopped for a while there, but yeah, it was like 19 days total. I think it was just over 4,000 miles that we drove. So
that's so crazy. When you think about that in the UK, it's always like, oh goodness, it's like 2 hours away. That's just you wouldn't see your family
completely
for like 2 years because well, they live like a 3-hour drive. So
it's such a phenomenon, isn't it? In the States, you don't think twice about driving these really long distances. Where, like you say, Kat, I hardly drive. Well, I haven't driven anywhere in a long time in COVID times, but before that, I think I changed very much from driving to going up and down the country by train because I really fell out of love with driving. If I drive more than say 2 hours, I start to get bored, maybe it's a little bit sleepy, and that's enough for me. But God, I couldn't imagine doing those days of road tripping, but it sounds really exciting. But
it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think I drove like 30 minutes total. My husband loves to drive, so I'm like, I picked a good one. I just sit there and enjoy and work on Teams on my phone.
Awesome.
while driving around.
We were talking not that long ago to wonderful MVP Joy Apple, previous guest, and she was saying exactly the same. She was getting told off by her husband when they were supposed to be on holiday, and she was on her phone on Teams, and we all do that.
It's too easy to work when you're like not supposed to.
Definitely. I think that's one of the things where technology becomes so accessible that it just have it all the time. So use the thing on your phone where you can put the quiet hours on Teams. It's just saved me so much, because you will have colleagues who do message you at 9 p.m. at night, and I know they don't expect a reply. They probably just they're messaging you and they expect you to come back tomorrow morning, or they would never expect me to reply too late. But you just can't help it.
I know. When you see it there, like you have to reply.
You have to do it.
I have to turn off notifications on weekends, or I would just never stop working.
You have to, don't you? You have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But so what kind of car do you have for that road trip then, Allie? Have you got a big 4x4? Or?
We have a Honda CR-V hybrid. It's awesome. It was actually, I had a really old, I had a Honda CR-V that was like a 2007 maybe, that like literally died on me last March. So we had to get a new car. I mean, it just died. And the Honda was like, well, if you buy another Honda, we can give you like $1,500 off or something for what's left of your car.
Wow.
So yeah, we are Honda CR-V loyal.
Nice.
Cool. We just sold our second car yesterday, funnily enough. We've been a 2-car family for as long as I can remember, but my wife's car, it just didn't move for the last couple of years. So we thought we got a good offer from the dealership saying, we can actually give you some cash back on this. So we thought, why not? We might as well. We really don't need it. So but electric car next for me. I think there's a lot more people getting electric, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot of. I think Graham Hosking was saying on Twitter just the other day, he was showing his electric car and the range that he can get on it now. It's quite amazing how far they've come on, and so important for the planet as well. So
I think that's definitely going to be the future. Everybody's going to be on an electric car, definitely.
Well,
we have like a button we can push to be in EV for like, it's, I mean, you can't do it the whole time, but yeah, it's pretty cool. We drive on the electric when we can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dear me.
It's pretty cool.
But there is a very important question that we need to ask you, and I'm desperate to find out because my vote is currently in the lead. So we'll see if you can turn the tables. So we have to ask this to all of our guests, the obligatory question: which prefer or think is a better film, Terminator 1 or Terminator 2?
I'm gonna have a really disappointing answer. I have not seen any of them.
That's okay. That's
I am the
okay.
worst. I know. I literally preparing for this asked my husband like which one he liked better just so that I could have an answer. And he was like, I don't remember them either. He always makes fun of me because I've never seen like any of these classic movies that apparently it's like a travesty to not have seen.
No.
A lot of people have said that. You're not alone.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel better. I was like, I hope I'm not a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
Are you a movie buff, or because I know you said you like outside activities? Outside, like I don't leave the house. You go outside for stuff for fun.
No, trust me. I love movies and TV. Yeah, I just feel like I kind of have like there were a lot of movies I should have seen, in the 90s or whatever that I just didn't, and now it feels not too late. I mean, I've gone back and watched some things, but yeah, I definitely like the Terminators. Like, never seen the Back to the Future. Like, really, horrible things to admit. Godfathers, none of them. Like, I need someday I'll catch up. I do love movies, and I'm sure I would enjoy them. But yeah, they just
you had no reason to watch them until you come on to a tech podcast and get grilled on if you've seen Terminator 1 or Terminator 2.
Exactly.
Do you know what? You've got a great experience then, because I would love to wipe my memory from seeing things like The Godfather. Jurassic Park is a big one where I'm just like, I wish I could watch it. One of my top 10s. I just wish I could wipe my memory, watch it for the first time. Oh, how amazing is that? So you're going to watch all of these great films for the first time.
Yes.
So I highly recommend checking them out.
Hopefully by the time I meet you both in person, I will have seen them and I will have an answer for you.
Oh, that's your homework. That's your takeaway from this. But how about music then? Because we talk a lot about music on this show, and a couple of shows ago we had, as you can imagine, an amazing conversation with Stephen Rose about music.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
We could have gone all day, but what sort of things do you like listening to?
I think probably also disappointing. I really like all music. I like a lot. I like R&B a lot. I'm trying to think. I'm also like a really big Broadway musical nerd.
Oh yeah.
So
nice.
I do a lot of show tunes too.
Hamilton?
Oh yeah. I actually saw the original cast in New York.
Oh, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I did.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I met him. Yeah, I have a good friend from a good family friend from growing up who is the assistant. He might be the musical director now, but he's the assistant musical director. He was conducting, and he literally like got us tickets kind of last minute. So we sat in amazing seats. They're like cast member seats who's like their families don't come. So like you pay face value. Like people were paying thousands of dollars for these tickets, and we paid like under 200. It's a good person to know. But yeah, he's so that was really cool. I saw the original cast. We went backstage afterwards. I have a picture like on the set. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. That is such an iconic set, that as well, because around the world, where Hamilton tours the world, they always reconstruct that set exactly the same. It's so iconic, but what a story. And the songs, I talk about it often on this show. You've not seen it, have you, Kat?
No, I've not. I'd actually not heard of it either. And I like a good Broadway musical. So I'm wondering where that let me down in terms of finding out that existed.
If you have Disney Plus. Have you got Disney Plus?
I did have it, but I can get it's £8. I can get it again.
Because it's on there, and I've watched it to death on there. But never seen it live, so I'm so jealous.
Well, we'll do that then. Allie, you watch Terminator 1. I recommend.
Yes.
And I'll watch Hamilton, and we'll compare notes when we meet.
Yeah, this is great. We can all improve our horizons by talking about things. Because when I first met my wife, I didn't like musicals at all. But I absolutely love them now. I'm a complete Broadway musical enthusiast, and among my favorites, Hamilton. I love Les Miserables. So good. Absolutely love that. Phantom, obviously, and So too many to name. Too many to
Well,
name.
Dear Evan Hansen, I think, just came out too, the
Mm.
movie version. I also saw that one on Broadway, and it's
Wow.
spectacular. I think
Well,
the music is so good.
What would you say your favorite is?
Mm.
It's really hard to say anything but Hamilton.
Mm.
Les Mis is definitely my favorite kind of classic one. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Les Mis, and I love West Side Story. I love Rent.
Mhm.
Rent, love Rent.
Yeah, Wicked. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard
They're
to
all
pick.
just so good.
They're so good. Yeah, Dear Evan Hansen is a really, really good new one too, and I just think Ben Platt is like one of the most talented new musical stars. He's incredible.
Good to
Oh,
see. Well, if Hamilton's your
fantastic.
favorite, I definitely have to check it out then.
Yeah.
If it's definitely up there. So
It's just different from anything you've ever
Yeah.
seen. It's a really interesting kind of like, if you think deeply about it, it's like a pretty interesting commentary on America, which I think is cool, but it's also just really fun music and
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
diverse cast, which is rare.
Oh,
And yeah, it's
isn't
great.
it though? Such a great cast. Absolutely amazing cast, and they poke a little bit of fun at us English in it with King George III, the madness of King George.
So
But,
good. The
he's
King
really
is
good,
like
isn't
the
he?
best. Yeah. Like
He was
the best
brilliant.
thing in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
funny,
good.
so funny. But apparently, when Lin-Manuel Miranda showed the performance to Helen Mirren for the first time when it toured over here in the UK, he said he was a little bit nervous how us Brits would react to being teased a little bit.
You
But she
can
said,
handle it.
"Of course we can, of course we can." But she apparently famously said back to him, "Oh, we love it when you take the."
Yeah.
So fantastic.
There's nothing better than being roasted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
completely.
love it. If I go to a comedy show, I sit in the front row, so they'll just take the mick out of me, and
Audience participation.
I just love it.
Yes.
I think it's so funny. I absolutely love it. So yeah.
I'm a bit more sort of, oh, don't look at me.
That's the thing. My other half's like that as well. So I'm like, come on. Well, and because he's just I don't say miserable, but he doesn't smile. He's kind of sitting there like this. And so obviously they pick on him more because he's not reacted as much as I. Oh, yeah. So it's just, he never enjoys going to comedy shows with me, but I just, cry the whole time. But
so funny.
Well, we found something, as we always do on these shows, that I could talk about for hours and hours and hours, but definitely mindful of your generosity of giving your time to us today. So we'll start to wind things up. We'll say thank you very much for joining us, Allie. Before we go, is there anything you'd like to just say to the audience in closing, and can you let them know how they can get in touch with you if they would like to reach out?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun. Yeah, I think I'm like, you can find me on Twitter. My handle's right there. Allie was 13, my old last name. Yeah, or LinkedIn. I'm very open to chatting with people. Anyone interested in becoming an MVP or want to talk about Hamilton, anything, please reach out. And yeah, hope to see everyone at Ignite and try to explore some of our new exciting sessions in the Connection Zone.
Amazing. So good.
Wonderful stuff. Well, we shall close the show there. Please do remember to check us out on Twitter at CloudCons365. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/c/Cloud Conversations. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. You have no idea how much that helps us, and do try and leave us a nice little review on podcasts as well. If you check us out on Apple, Spotify, all the usual, give us a 5-star rating if you think we've earned it, which hopefully we have. And let us know what you think. Give us some feedback, anything you'd like to see, anything you like, anything you don't like, all that good stuff. But I've been Peter Rising, my wonderful co-host, Kat Greenan, and our fantastic guest, Allie Thompson. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Cloud Conversations. See you down the road.
Amazing.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You, bye.